Good morning, market snipers. This is Jesse. Sell signals have been confirmed across Bitcoin and the indices like SP 500 and the NASDAQ. Now what? Right? Now what? Today, we will break down what that means and where we go from here. We'll look at the daily chart, the weekly chart, and the higher time frames overall and try to get a good grasp of where we're going from here, just like we do every single live stream that the stock market is open, unless last Friday when X was down, right? X was down. But we'll start with Bitcoin. We'll take a look at the altcoins, the major indices, anything else that jumps out of at us on the watch list, and we'll get this going. We'll get this going. And then on the second half of the live stream, we'll cover your chart requests. So just make sure to put them on the put in the ticker symbol and all that stuff. So with that, we're looking at the Bitcoin daily chart. Might as well just jump right in. Yesterday on the live stream, we talked about it was a pending sell signal, and price was around $89,000, $90,000. End up closing down here at 88,250-ish, 250-ish, and now we're below $88,000. So started with the wick up. It's not how the candle starts, but it's how it closes. Started with a wick up to 90,600, and now it's pushing back down, right? Looking at the drawings on the chart, broke out after the bullish divergence. The higher low came out, hit this target. And on January 15th, the January 15th live stream we talked about, is the relief rally over, right? I made a case of why it could be, and I made a case why it could push up higher into that 102, 103, 104 area. $100,000 was psychological value, all of that. But this target had two key reasons why it could be over, depending on what exchange you're looking at. And it hit both of those two targets. The same two targets that Bitcoin hit in the 2022 relief rally, March and into April. The exact same two targets. And that was the reason why, after it hit these two targets, similar to 2022, we did the live stream on January 15th, and we talked about and covered why the relief rally could be over, but also let's stay neutral, and why the relief rally could continue up to hit that another area, because on Binance exchange, not this Coinbase exchange, but in Binance, one of the two targets was still higher. So that's where we're at. Since then, since that live stream, price came back down to retest the trailing dots, still holding trailing dots. And we talked about, if Bitcoin has a candle close below the trailing dots and below this trend line that we had drawn out, where was it? Right? So this more aggressive upward trend line is kind of working as like your visual stop loss, right? Your visual line in the sand, and it lines up with the trending dots. So the trend was trending higher until we start to see candle close below the trending dots, below that trend line. And then, of course, yesterday and the day before, we were talking about bulls do not want to see a candle close below this trend line here. That is one of like the last lines in the sand that is drawn, so to say, right? So here we are, came up for a back test of that upward trend line, and now is pushing back down. Is pushing back down. The probabilities continue to increase that the relief rally is over. So in 2022, there was an initial 52% drop, followed by a 45% relief rally that lasted 63 days. This was a 36% drop, lasted 54 days for a 21.5% relief rally. So lesser drop to the downside, about the same timing wise, and then a lesser bounce to the upside. So lesser drop, lesser bounce, which makes sense. We were thinking, 20, 25, 30% bounce, not the 40, 45% bounce like 2022, because this drop wasn't as big. We were talking about back here that if we did see bullish divergence come all the way down to 78,000 first, which we did not, then I would expect a 30, 35, 40% bounce, relief rally bounce. So if we would have come down further and had a larger bounce, a larger correction, like say 40%, then I would have expected a 30, 35, 40% bounce all the way back up. But the wick was 36%, 21.5% bounce, hit both key target retracements as of 2022. The exact same target that had two key retracement targets within that one box, and hit both of them. And we talked about it. I posted that on X on the 14th and the 15th, right around there. I posted it, all that, and now here we are, right? So sell signal confirmed. Sell signal confirmed on the indices. We'll cover that as well. We're going to look at the altcoins, and we'll also take a look at the higher time frames on Bitcoin as well. Like the weekly chart, which is still bearish. Yesterday we were talking about it's so early in the week, but if it were to close where it's at now, that's a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly chart, which is not bullish. It's still below the trend dots. This is why we always thought that it was just a bounce. It was just a relief rally. Actually thought we could come up and see price tag the trending dots similar to 2022 on the weekly chart. But once the SP 500 and the NASDAQ started to roll over, it kind of cut everything a little bit shorter. And in hindsight, it'll look very close to hitting those trending dots, but the trending dot was higher at that point, and now it's lower now. So, so good morning, everybody. 6-7. Are you old enough to be on this live stream? Morning, good morning, good morning. West Diddy, 4825. London, UK, not so sexy news. What's up, Lawrence? Welcome back. Thomas, thank you for reposting the stream. I appreciate that. Mighty Kirk, welcome back. 50,000 coming. Meanwhile, Moon Boys keep longing. Yeah, they'll literally buy the dip the whole way down. And then what happens is this is the same thing. And a lot of them are doing the same thing as 2022. Not only Moon Boys, but like quote unquote crypto trading experts with their Elliott wave that keep countering me on what seems like every single post that I do. Don't worry. I will sniper her when the timing is right. When the max pain presents itself, I'm just waiting in the weeds. I'm lurking, ready to take my sniper shot. You can take a shot at a sniper, but you better not miss. And if you're selling courses and you're an Elliott wave guru, self-proclaimed, and you're a trading expert guru, self-proclaimed, and you're very spammy, and this is all good fun, by the way. We follow each other. But if you post so many times nonstop and you take shot after shot that we're going to go much higher with your Elliott wave, and we're trending down on higher time frames, and we're going to go down most likely and retest the 200-week moving average. That's my main thesis before we go make new all-time highs. I'm going to take I'm gonna strike when the pan is hot, or I'll take I'll take my sniper shot at the perfect timing, right? It's gonna hurt more. So yeah, yeah. So not just Moon Boys, not just Moon Boys, but quote unquote self-proclaimed experts who sell courses and get pretty spammy and post all over my stuff and all like every one of my posts over and over and over again. And don't worry, I'll respond at the perfect time. So with that, none of this is financial advice, obviously, and is for educational purposes only, and hopefully have a little bit of fun along the way, whether it's making fun of me or crypto experts out there who have been wrong since October 6th when the top was in. And we've never taken $1 of affiliate money. So we're going to just spend 2-3 minutes at the most plugging Market Sniper Pro. Why not? Right. So you can follow us over here at Market Sniper Pro, also live streaming. Figured out how to set that up. And then you can come over part of the portal. You can see the liquidity of the portal. It's all included for $49, right? So if you came over here and you're like clicked on the website, this is the only website we have. You can go features. You can learn more. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but you could go through all of that. It's all included. Everything you see on the features is included for $49 a month. So I like to see the fear and greed index, the 90-day historical sentiment. That's included. You can see the ETF inflow, outflow. You got the recorded coaching, 78 videos, I believe. Crazy. They're even broken down in labels, dashboard, right? It's all included. News alerts. You can actually click on it. It'll pull up the corresponding charts and you can read the full article. Setups, and then, of course, screener. And whatever comes up, you can click on it. It'll automatically draw. I did a video on it, so I'm not going to spend time on it, but you can see the bearish divergence, trend lines are automatically drawn, and you can push it through TradingView. And then, of course, the sneak preview of the intelligence coming soon, which is all going to be tied in. So with that, we'll get back to it. Bitcoin's breaking down 87,500. I guess the talking heads and Tom Lee in October of 2025 still calling for $250,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2025. In hindsight, they are wrong, right? When Tom Lee doubled down, and not to just pick on Tom Lee, it's all of them, right? But Tom Lee doubled down in early January and said $180,000 Bitcoin by the end of January. Well, we have 10 days remaining, and it takes time for the ship to get turned around. And the ship is not turning around. The weekly chart is bearish. It still is bearish. If you look at the 2-week chart, the 2-week chart is bearish. It's not turning around anytime soon. You see the red trending dots. It's going to take time. Calling for 250, whatever, doesn't matter. If you're in, makes more sense though, if you're in an uptrend with the trending dots. You're uptrend with a buy signal. And can't prove you wrong until the reversal, right? Can't prove you wrong until the reversal. But now to continue to say that, okay, October, maybe I'm wrong. I doubt it. Maybe I'm wrong in middle of October. Maybe I doubt it. And then you get a candle close below end of October on the 2-week chart as example. And the probabilities are increasing that I'm not wrong. And then you get a sell signal on the 2-week chart, which is not below the train dots, which has not been seen since January 2022. And the probabilities are really low that I'm wrong. Then you have multiple candles below it, and you have the trending dots trending red. And it becomes less and less likely that I'm wrong. Right? So I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Oh, made a new all-time high. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Less likely I'm wrong. A lot less likely I'm wrong. Right? 3-week chart. Sell, buy, sell, battle, 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 but all below the train dots. Sell, buy, sell, all below the train dots. The thesis remains the same. We're coming back to the retest 200-week moving average. In the past, we've seen Bitcoin go 30% below the 200-week moving average. So not only to retest the 200-week moving average, but could go below 30% as well, which would put it, see 20% at 46,000. 30% is 40,000. So, but the main thesis is the main thesis, and that's to retest the 200-week moving average. Here we are. That could be a bearish engulfing candle on the weekly chart, 3-week chart. We talked about the bearish engulfing candle up here. We talked about it. We covered it every single live stream. Here we are. In 2022, BTC went a bit below 300. I like his. Well, I mean, you could pick out any moving average you want. I keep the 200-week moving average on, not only for Bitcoin, but for all assets. So that's the one I watch. But if it lines up with, Bitcoin has gone below the 200-week moving average, then maybe it's getting close to the 300 as well. So, but I'm not really paying attention to it. It's the 200-week moving average that I pay attention to mostly. So, but it could. So this is a 3-week chart. It's bearish. It's below the train dots. The monthly chart, once the monthly chart back in November retested the training dots, hadn't retested the training dots in the bull run. Did retest the training dots in the bull run January 2022. I was less likely to be wrong. We expected a bounce. We got it. We expected a relief rally. And now, many, depending if the month closes bearish, whatever, that could be a bearish hammer candle, right? It's another bearish looking candle on the monthly chart. Yeah, I'll circle back on the second half of the live stream. Lawrence, you got it. So the monthly chart, the 3-week chart, the 2-week chart, the weekly chart, the daily chart are all bearish. So calling for new all-time highs while the higher time frames have flipped, you need to update your strategy, or you're doing it for clicks, one or the other. Either your strategy is not good, or you're doing it just for clicks, because bullish charts, bullish hopium always have outperformed bearish charts. So we had a lot more fun on the way up than on the way down, and I got a lot more clicks on the way up than on the way down, because I post what I see. I don't just put large arrow up, right? So that's where we're at. Let's see the monthly chart. Let's go back to the weekly chart. Still bearish. We put this out on October 10th, right? We don't expect the fractal to play out exactly, and it hasn't. But the thesis remains the same, that we'd have the initial big drop, which we did, and it hit 2 out of, say, 4 targets, 5 targets. If you want to go back to 2022, it hit 5 targets to the downside. Initial drop followed by the relief rally, just as it did in 2022. The timing will be different, followed by price coming down, hitting target 3, and then retesting the 200-week moving average. So it was lagging the fractal, and then it passed it, right? And then it caught up and surged below it, right? So it seems like it's a few weeks ahead on the drop, but we're not expecting it to play out exactly the same. And this was originally on the Heikinashi. So in the Heikinashi, you can see that we posted this on October 10th. And this thesis is based on we don't have a .com like bubble crash, and we don't have 2008 like market crash. If we do have something similar to that, Bitcoin has never experienced a 2008 crash, and Bitcoin has never experienced a .com crash in the history of Bitcoin. And if we do have something like that, then this fractal will disappear, and we'd probably see prices even lower than target 5, right? It's possible. Even Amazon in the .com bubble dropped 92%, right? So 80% would be 25,000. 85% would be under $20,000. And if it did something like Amazon, that would be crazy. $10,000. That I don't have any targets down there, but it's an awareness that many believe it'll be up only forever, right? And Bitcoin has never experienced a .com like crash. Bitcoin has never experienced a 2008 like crash. And even Amazon, who came out a huge winner out of the .com bubble, huge winner, dropped 92%. And I showed yesterday a stock that prints positive earnings after positive earnings after positive earnings that never has made a new all-time high since the .com bubble, and that's Intel Corporation. Intel Corporation's never made a new all-time high despite positive earnings after positive earnings after positive earnings. And we covered that on yesterday's live stream. So I don't know how to do that. How do you do that on the live streams? Do I have to go into YouTube? Because it's a live stream. Like, I know you could do that by uploading transcripts for a video, I think, but I don't know if I don't know. But like, how many more steps do I have to do to get the live stream going just for YouTube? If it's not that much, then I would do it for sure, because that would probably help, right? So let me know how to do it for live streams on YouTube. And if it's just a couple steps, I'll definitely do it. So I would probably have to do it after the live stream, because I run everything through StreamYard. So I'd probably have to go into YouTube. Well, if I set YouTube in advance, I could probably do it then. So let me know. Let me know. I'd be happy if it's just like another 1 or 2 steps. I would be happy to do it. But I don't know how you do that. I know you can do it on videos, but you have to upload transcripts, I believe, and I haven't done that before. So, but that's my only caveat with these targets. That price could go lower if Bitcoin experiences a .com or a 2008 like market crash, because I still treat it as a high risk tech stock. That's how I treat Bitcoin, right? A high risk tech stock that's ultra leveraged. It's ultra leveraged. There's Bitcoin futures, there's CFDs, there's perpetuals, there's futures probably with options as well on Bitcoin. There's ETFs, options, leverage ETFs. I mean, it's highly leveraged asset, so still high risk. If it would have remained spot only, I would have said it's a store value, and it's still kind of a store value, but you can see like gold and silver can be suppressed with leverage for years if the big players really want to. So it wouldn't be hard to suppress a $2 trillion asset indefinitely with high leverage or with leverage with not that much money, right? For a big player. But anyways, still bearish on the weekly chart. Heikinashi, see 3-week chart, all that, right? So that's where we're at. Let's go back to candles. Starting to look like a bearish engulfing candle. We will see. It's still early in the candle. Daily charts breaking down. Looks like it's coming back into longer term target 2. So longer term target 2, longer term target 2. And then we start seeing daily candle closes below 84,700 ish. And the probabilities will continue to increase that we're going to be dropping below target 2 and then coming down and hitting target longer term target 3, right? And then of course maybe bounce and then start breaking candle closes below target 3 and then see longer term target 4 and or the 200-week moving average at $57,700 ish, right? So it's a slow moving target. So it was 55,000, then 56,000, 57,000. Try to do a trajectory of it, and it could be $60,000 by the time that happens, right? So we will see how it plays out. HODL is an ETF, gapped down, sell signal yesterday as well, and it's got a lot of older gaps. We talked about this and covered it. If it's filling this gap down here, as an example, Bitcoin would be at about $67,000, right? So just keep that in mind. Would the ETF all-time low come back for a retest? It's possible. It's possible. $10.93. So what was that? That was back January 2024. Possible. Let's see. January 2024 is where? Where's January 2024? Yeah. So if the ETF started over here, January 2024, Bitcoin would be at about $40,000 if the ETF came all the way back to the low, because it launched in January 2024, right? The HODL. So if it came back to these levels, it'd be 40,000, which would be lower than 57,000, about 30%, which has done that in the past, but we'll see. That would be target 5, similar to 2022. And overall, that would still be lesser to the downside target wise, because a 70% drop, and it was like a 76% drop in 2022. So it's possible. It's possible. What else? Bitcoin futures. One thing that's never happened in the history of Bitcoin, I believe it's the first time it's ever happened. Let me see. Quick scan of the 200-week moving average. This is the Bitcoin gold ratio. In the history of the 200-week moving average for Bitcoin versus gold, the 200-week moving average has never started downward sloping. It's downward sloping right now. So you can see the peak was 21.93429 in August. It dropped down to 21.88. Not by a lot, but it's downward sloping for the first time. That is bearish. We talked about this several times with altcoins like Cardano and stuff, which I'll show you. 200-week moving average started downward sloping. And that changed our thesis on Cardano, for example, that we were going to go see new all-time highs. Like you still had a chance, you still had a chance, you still had a chance. And then it started downward sloping. That's not good. It means it's bearish. And so, yeah, expect bounces, but overall it's bearish, right? So Bitcoin versus gold has started downward sloping, and that's not good. Could it flip around? Sure, but it doesn't look like it is right now. It doesn't look like it is right now. And that has never happened in Bitcoin's history. So, not to be the bearer of bad news, but we talked about it. You know, you wouldn't want to see a downward sloping 200-week moving average against the dollar, but I don't think you want to see that against gold either. So that's something to pay attention to, and never guarantee that's going to flip right back around, right? So it's in a downtrend until proven otherwise. Downtrend until proven otherwise. What else? Market cap is 1.75 trillion. We're showing this as like a bear flag, right? The flag was starting to get a little long in the tooth, but still the pole is longer. So we're going to leave it on there. And the main thing is that it broke below this upward trend line, right? That's number one. Looks kind of like, you know, it's not perfect, but a channel. And started break back below the midline of it. And it's coming back down. So if this is still considered a bear flag because the pole is longer, then the target would be much lower, right? It'd be much lower and closer to that 200-week moving average. So if you look at it on a weekly chart, you could even go, the pole is on the weekly chart, and that would get you below the 200-week moving average to a $1 trillion asset. So I took the more conservative on the daily chart, but the weekly chart, you know, could work as, it looks more like a bear flag on the weekly chart as well. Lines up better, right? So everything aligns better on the weekly chart than the daily chart, which means it's a bigger target to the downside. And I don't just trade patterns by itself, right? This is with confluence of everything else that we're already talking about. The targets that are similar to 2022, that were similar to 2017 or 2018, and that were similar to 14, right? Bitcoin was hitting the same targets. So is this time different? Maybe. But here we are, about 35 minutes into live charting Bitcoin. So let's pivot. Let's get right into Ethereum. We'll hit some of these altcoins on the higher time frames and get rock and rolling over here. Hit the indices, Magnificent Seven, all of that. So let's get rock and rolling. Daily chart on Bitcoin breaking down. Ethereum had a sell signal first. Oh, this is XRP, had a sell signal first. Bullish divergence cleared. Ethereum was breaking down from a similar upward trend line. Sell signal yesterday as well, and is back below target one. And you've got some potential horizontal support, and then after that, you'd be back to the 200-week moving average. So XRP, 2 targets and done. Chainlink, a link. Cardano, 1 target and done. But we know that it's just a bounce until proven otherwise, right? Just a bounce until proven otherwise. The weekly chart is bearish. We still have a downward sloping 200-week moving average. The trending dots are now below the 200-week moving average. It's just bearish, right? The 3-week chart is bearish. Has not made a new all-time high since August 2021. The monthly chart is bearish, right? Algo, bearish. Weekly chart is bearish. Daily chart is bearish. Only 1 target. H bar, XLM, near. So expect bounces, but these bounces got sold off quickly, right? They got sold off quickly. MicroStrategy, bounce until proven otherwise. There was bullish divergence. There was a pivot. Price came back up from wick to wick with a 26.5% bounce, followed by a reversal. And the main thesis was coming back to retest the 200-week moving average. It's trending that way. And then the weekly chart has a target all the way down to $77. If you look at the Adam and Eve double top pattern, right? Brings it all the way down. Alessandro, give me more details on Dash, please. Not just the ticker symbol, but give me all the details. So if I search for it, we can find it quickly and cover it on the second half of the live stream. But sure, no problem. MicroStrategy, gold made another new all-time high today, right? Just eating Bitcoin's lunch right now. Silver, bearish divergence. Bearish divergence could have a bearish engulfing candle. I wouldn't be shorting silver. It's ultra bullish on higher time frames, but doesn't mean it couldn't go sideways and or retest the trending dots on the daily chart. But there is bearish divergence. There is a pending bearish engulfing candle. A lower high could signal that we see prices come back and consolidate before the next move up, right? So something to be aware of. Gold, ultra bullish on all time frames. 3-month chart, monthly chart. The dollar, is that going to be a higher low and then go? Possibly. VIX had like a 25% spike, and it's still above the 200-week moving average as of right now. Just kind of letting the trending dots catch up and all of that. What else? What else? What else? Platinum, bullish. Palladium, uranium, ultra bullish. Intel, ultra bullish. Finally having its day. Magnificent Seven. Oops. Google, Tesla, Meta. Bearish divergence, rising wedge on the SP 500. Yesterday triggered the sell signal, and the trading dots are still way up here at 6,955. So, but bearish divergence, a lower high, rising wedge, and there were several other things as well. But the targets have been set. So sell signal on SP 500 futures. NASDAQ also had a sell signal on the futures, came all the way back up 25,500-ish, and is now pushed all the way back down. So candle close below this pivot point over here as well. One target's been hit so far. These targets are still valid. If this is an Adam and Eve double top pattern, right? Then it shows that we could see price near target 3, right? So of course you got to get back to target 1, then you got to fall below it. Candle close below this pivot point signals that is the Adam and Eve double top pattern. A candle close here is the confirmation line, and then see prices lower. SMCI, Apple continues to be oversold on the daily chart, but could remain that way. It's just bearish right now. Weekly chart, pending sell signal on the weekly chart. What else? Amazon had a sell signal yesterday. ANF, bearish engulfing candle today. So they didn't let us in here, and they didn't let us in here. So I'm not going to let that go, are you, Jesse? Microsoft. 3 targets have been hit so far. Starting to get oversold on the daily chart. There's a big gap down here in Microsoft. Big gap. Yeah, we'll take a look at it. We'll circle back on it. Bum, bum, bum. So Microsoft is breaking down from target 3. And then we have 4 targets here. You have a huge gap at 396. And then you have the 200-week moving average at 372. So it doesn't look like it's done yet. That's the daily chart. The weekly chart is bearish on the weekly chart. Pending sell signal on the 3-week chart. This was a sell signal on the 3-week chart. Price went lower, right? Monthly chart is below the trailing dots. Monthly chart went below the trailing dots. Monthly chart went below the trailing dots. So expect further downside, even with bounces along the way on Microsoft. And it seems like it's leading the way for the Magnificent Seven. PLTR, is breaking down. Netflix is dropping. And so on and so on and so on. So that's Magnificent Seven. Lemonade, holding on for dear life. So there you go. Let's go back over. What are we? Pretty close to an hour now. So let's go back over here. Let's try to keep it to an hour, but let's cover the chart requests. We have Lawrence over here with Hannah USDT, crypto. And Qcoin. It's new asset, but has a history of pumping and dumping hard. I am looking for shorts on the 1 hour time frame. Well, so yeah, I mean it's ultra bullish on the daily chart. So you're counter trading. There's no chart history on the weekly chart. There's a pending buy on the 3-day chart, but you're on a lower time frame. So let's look at the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart is ultra bullish still. So the overall trend, the 4-hour and the daily chart are ultra bullish. So I'd rather be buying the dip than to short, right? So like me personally, like buying that dip, you had 100% bounce in a day, right? So if you look at the 4-hour chart, right? When the higher time frames start flipping, the higher time frame than what you're trading on, right? Is flipping bullish or is bullish. I'd rather be buying than shorting. Because even if there's a pullback, the percentage might be less than higher. So there's nothing, on the 4-hour and the daily chart, it doesn't show that, hey, it's reversing as a pending sell. So I'm going to start shorting on the 1-hour chart. Obviously, none of this is financial advice, but my thought process is different. When the higher time frames are flipping bullish on 4-hour and daily chart, when trading the 1-hour chart, I'd rather be buying the dip with 123% potential versus the higher time frames are bullish and you're looking for a short to try to get maybe 25%, right? So if you're expecting a pullback of 25%, or it's flipping bullish and it goes 100%. So you can counter trade. I'm just letting you know my thought process is trading with the trend is going to give you better opportunities, in my opinion, than counter trading. So you have to be a lot more precise counter trading, and there's less potential to the upside. Now, if you're on a 5-minute chart or something, that might be different, because you might be able to capture, who knows if you're using leverage or not, but say you get 25% to the downside, but you said specifically the 1-hour chart. But if you're on the 5-hour chart, like you have been in the past, you might be able to get a retracement out of it. But again, it's caution because the higher time frames are bullish. Hopefully that helps. Just wants to know your point of view of Dash. Yeah, you got it. Dash. Yeah, that's exactly what I need. All the details. Thank you. It helps. USDT. You didn't specify the exchange, so I'll just pick Binance. Let's get off the 5-minute chart. You got it. You got it, Lawrence. Thank you. Appreciate it. What else? Daily chart had a pump, and now it seems like it wants to retest the trending dots. And then will it do what other altcoins already did, which is close below the trending dots with a sell signal? Let's see what the weekly chart is. The weekly chart looks different, right? So it is bullish on the weekly chart. It is bullish on the daily chart as of right now. It is bullish on the monthly chart. The caution is the 200-week moving average is still downward sloping. So it's a pretty big caution, right? Could it flip upwards? Yes. And would price... Oh. Mic check. Mic check. Yep. Could it make a run and then it starts to curl up? Yes. Yes, it could. But the caution is there for a reason, because if you look at a downward sloping Cardano, it did pump higher. It did come down. It did look bullish on the weekly chart at some point, and it just kept getting sold off, even when it was bullish on the weekly chart. Even when it was bullish on the weekly chart, it kept selling off, right? It was bullish on the monthly. It was bullish on the monthly, and then it gets sold off. So that is the caution on Dash, is that it's downward sloping and it's currently bullish on the higher time frames, but it doesn't mean it couldn't get sold off. So it's selling off right now on the daily chart. So if you start to see candle closes below the trending dots and sell signals, blah, 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 then it could continue to look similar to Cardano versus the examples that you gave, like Zcash and Monero. So hopefully that helps. Yep, you got it. Well, I think that's it. I think we covered everything. We looked at Bitcoin. We looked at Ethereum, some of the altcoins. We looked at the Magnificent Seven. And we pretty much have covered everything on here. So with that, hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for smashing the like button. Thank you for reposting the stream, sharing with friends and family. Help me help you. Help me with the algorithms. And with that, I hope you're welcome. You are welcome. Yep. Just awareness, right? Awareness. And with that, have a good rest of your day. We'll see you on the next live stream. Adios.